and welcome to another episode of Disqualified. I am Trevin, joined as always by our current main roster predictions champion, Caleb.
Hola!
And Zach, our NXT predictions champion, is behind the camera as always. And our editor-in-chief, Gordon, is also behind the camera.
Yeah, for those who are unaware, this is Beltless Trevin. Beltless. Eternally.
Well, not eternally, but there's a chance.
I hope not eternally. Because, mate, after having a 4 PLE streak with the main roster title, I hope I'm not beltless for eternity.
You got...
Nah, you're beltless for eternity.
They gave you... So we're going to sign you. We're going to give you one good title run. And then you're never going to touch that title again.
Yeah,
that's the contract they signed you to.
He's the intro.
Dang.
But
I'm Seth Rollins in this, homie.
We are here to talk about NXT. It was a very weird episode.
Yeah.
2 shock title changes.
And 2 post-match promos.
In a return for someone. They made their on-screen return.
Yeah.
Also, more matches being made for
Worlds Collide.
And, we might as well just get into the episode and into one of 2 title matches that take place today.
So, we have your men's North American Championship match between Ricky Saints and Ethan Page. And before the bell even rings, they squabbling. They trying to kill each other. Ava and Security comes out. Security is failing to separate them fully. And Ava's like, F it. We need a winner of this feud. No DQ match right now. I'm changing the rules.
No, I don't think it... Was it that?
Yeah.
I don't recall it. I don't recall her coming out and making it no DQ.
She did.
So, a big part of the match, and the big part that everyone's talking about, is the spot where they're brawling, and, it somehow happened perfectly. A chair landed open downward, so the legs were in the air. And they're arguing in front of the chair, and while Ricky is looking at the ref, Ethan grabs Ricky and does a twisted grin onto the connecting bar of the chair.
Right in the throat.
Right to the throat.
Yep. Doc checks it. Yeah, it looked gross. A lot of spittle came out of Ricky's mouth.
And he somehow kicked out when it got back into the ring.
Yep, doctor medically cleared him for the match to continue. And Ethan just playing the heel.
Continued working on the neck.
Yep.
He
whipped the top rope into the throat while they were rope brawling on the apron.
And 1,
2, 3. And new
NXT North American Champion, Ethan Page. I also think this marks his year anniversary.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Yeah, it actually does.
So...
In the company? Or
yeah, in the company.
Yeah.
No, that man's been wrestling for not a while, but he's been wrestling for a little bit.
Yeah. I believe when he was having his feud with Trick and Javon, he mentioned how he's been in this business for 14 years, about?
Yeah.
Dang.
Mm-hmm. He was a big TNA staple.
Yes.
Stable. That's where I learned of him as a part of the North with Josh Alexander. Then his contract finished up with TNA. He went to AEW.
Was actually tag partners with Cody Rhodes for a championship run.
And Cody left, so they really stopped caring
Pushing
about
him.
Yeah. So then he's here.
Now he's here, and in a year he's held both the NXT titles.
What's left for does he lose it in this match that gets announced later?
Possibly.
So we'll hear more from Ethan later.
Yeah.
But yeah, all you need to know is that currently we have a new North American champion.
Yeah.
And now, speaking of a new champion, kind of, so brand-wise, he fits in the brand.
Yes.
Mike Santana
makes his
TNA
NXT debut.
standout. Yep, makes his TNA or his NXT debut coming through the crowd, which was cool.
Yeah.
I haven't really seen that in a NXT or
yeah, he does that in TNA also.
Yeah, other than Dark State, of course. But.
Yeah. But yeah, his match is against Tavion. They made this match back at Battleground as Tavion, is one of the few respecters of the TNA people crossing the line. He's like, listen, I've watched some of your work. You're pretty cool. I'd love to have a match against you. And Santana's like, you know what? Bet.
Yeah. And this match cooks.
Yes. Give us more Tavion on our screens.
Give us more Tavion and give us more Santana. Well, we do get Santana. We get more Santana later on and next week.
Yes, but Mike Santana, of course, it's his debut, so spoiler alert, he picks up the win in a banner of a match, as we mentioned.
Yep, and I'm forgetting his finisher's name. I don't think it's Rolling the Dice. It could be
Rolling the Block. Spinning the block.
Spinning the block.
There we go.
Spinning the block. So it's basically just a corner spinning back fist.
Yeah.
And 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And Charlie looks upset that his stable faction members keep losing. He's getting more and more pissed, especially because this loss is against someone crossing the line.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll hear his opinions about it later.
Yep. And we just saw a TNA star make their debut, and now we're seeing the not in-ring work debut, but in-ring debut of a new champion. That is Trick Williams, your new TNA champion.
Yep, Hollywood Trick, as he officially dubs himself.
Yeah, and he basically, the gist of his promo is that he's now a heel because the fans didn't cheer him.
Yep.
The fans kept booing him.
Yep, and y'all are a bunch of fakes. Y'all are a bunch of hypocrites. Everyone who was seen and whoop that Trick as I walked out with this gold wanted me to lose it while they were waving their hands in the air for that average Joe.
Yeah, and the first really weird occurrence of this episode happens.
Mike Santana responds to Trick being like, I'll be your first opponent because guess what? You might be TNA's champion, but you ain't my champion. I'm going to bring that championship back to where it belongs with the TNA star.
And not the promo's weird. It's the fact that usually you have a promo before your match.
Not 5 minutes after you finish your match. Like, he was still out of breath. You could tell.
It was just...
He wants the smoke.
Well, no, I get that. I get it fully. It's just weird. I'm not saying it's never happened because I only know as much as I know. I don't know everything. It very much could have happened back in the day. And I'm just unaware. But I've never seen someone have a match, then come out for their promo.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing. It happens twice.
This episode, which we'll get to later.
I had a nickel for every time they had a promo after a match.
I'd have
said
2
this in the
nickels.
car.
Yeah, I said that exact same thing in the car.
He said, it'd be weird, but I'd have 2 nickels.
Which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
And on the same night.
Yes.
But now,
Yeah, but since...
we get another weird occurrence. Weird occurrence number 2.
Yeah, well, Santino Morello, the director of authority over at TNA, makes it official that next Tuesday, Trick and Santana will have a match for the TNA World Championship.
Yep. And now, weird occurrence number 2 in a backstage promo.
Yep.
It is Stephanie, and she's talking to Ava, and Ava says, look, you're going to have a tag match, which already set off red flags in my head that I proceeded to ignore. So Stephanie has a tag match, and now she needs to find a partner, and she's like, I'll find a partner. Lola Vice answers off screen, says, "I'll be your partner, Stephanie," and then walks onto screen. You don't have a distinct enough voice to be noticeable off screen.
You haven't been on screen long enough for us to assume you're the person off screen. There is power in presence.
It's just, I don't know why I didn't think of it at the time. I was like, it's weird for Stephanie to be in a tag match at Worlds Collide. And we'll see exactly why she's in a tag match later on tonight.
But first, we get another debut.
Yes, it is the debut of LFG winner Jasper Troy.
And he has a match against Dante Chen.
And I'm going to keep it a buck. I forgot Dante Chen was here.
Yeah. And he wasn't there for long as Jasper kind of destroys him.
Destroys him. I'm liking the presentation. I like Jasper's vibe. The only thing I have a question. What's with the chains? Especially the two chains that aren't connected to anything. You're just holding them. And it's weird. He's not holding the ends. He's holding the middle.
Big burly man trying to be bigger and burlier.
Like they're briefcases. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's bad. No, he doesn't use them as weapon.
Future weapon.
Well, probably. I don't know.
Yes.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying I don't understand it, but it looks cool.
But after the
Also, you wrote Jasper.
No, there's a tail.
Where is the tail on that A? Sorry for going off screen. Where is the tail on that A?
Why do you think I keep adding tails to what I write on the board after he writes?
Listen, there was a lot to write. I just was trying to get through it quickly so we could start recording.
Because he writes
Jasper. But Obafemi does congratulate Jasper Troy.
Yep, and he's like, congrats on your debut and congrats on your 5 minutes of fame. I'm here to give my respects because you didn't respect me. And expect this to be the last time I do respect you.
Yep. And that's it for Jasper and Oba.
Yep.
And I think that's it for Dante for another 4 months.
Yep.
Until someone needs to come in and get squashed.
Yeah. Now it's time for the consequences of some actions.
Charlie's a little piss baby.
Yes.
He cries a lot.
Yes. So he's like, listen, guys.
I'm just gonna say that now.
Yeah. He's like, listen, we all keep losing. Why do we keep losing?
And the fact that you two tried to make it out on your own and both lost your singles matches. We need to regroup and focus.
Yep. And Miles is like, you're right. I'd like to leave NQCC.
Yep. And Charlie says, no. Well, why would you do that?
Yep. And Miles is like, listen, I put Oba through the ringer. He gave me a handshake. He gave me a head nod. I think I'm doing good. I won that battle royale while the other two of you got eliminated. Mm-hmm. He's like, I think I'm doing quite fine on my own. And he's like, listen, I get you might have some gripes, so how about this? I beat you in a match, I can leave. And Charlie agrees to that match, agrees to the stipulation on the condition that it is a rounds match, kind of like what the original Heritage Cup match style was like.
Also, speaking of the Heritage Cup,
where it at?
Where's Noam Dar? And speaking of the Heritage Cup, where is Lexus King? I get that you can't showcase everyone on every episode.
But it's been a whole 3 weeks without one of your titles on the screen.
Isn't that weird? Also, this happens after a match, but you know what? We'll get to it after the match because you did bring it up.
Yeah.
There's a rare sighting on this episode. A rare sighting on this episode of NXT. And I don't know if you even caught it.
I don't think I caught it.
Okay. First, the third weird occurrence on this episode.
Ethan Page remakes his entrance with the title and is like, well, I just won this.
Why are you out here? He said, I couldn't wait to celebrate. And Javon Evans comes out and says, look, I don't know why you're celebrating and you didn't invite me. We have history together.
Yeah, he's like, we both try to beat the snot out of each other like you just beat the snot out of Ricky.
And he goes ahead and announces that at Worlds Collide, Ethan Page will be facing Javon Evans.
And he's like, all right, fine. It's like, we can run it back. Like, we need a rubber match anyway.
Oh, I forgot to add, there's one more guy. And Laredo Kid!
Yeah!
From AAA and formerly, and also TNA, makes his debut.
Yep.
And he says, look, I'm Laredo Kid. I'm here to fight.
Yep. And he's like, come on, I just won this, and not only do I have to have a rubber match with Javon, but it's also a triple threat. Like, why is NXT always stacked against me?
I forgot there's one more dude. And it's fucking Ray Fenix?
Ethan's cooked.
Ethan's getting dicked in that match.
Brother, what the fuck?
Gravity will be non-existent in this fatal four-way.
Ethan's the only ground fighter. Ethan's the only ground fighter.
Ethan is going to experience gravity.
What the like? Don't get me wrong. It's gonna be a good match.
This match gonna cook.
I have one thing to say, and it does actually get announced right after. Like it gets acknowledged right after this. The fuck happened to Shawn Legacy getting his shot?
Yeah. So the Tuesday after Worlds Collide is when he will finally get his match he has a stake on against the winner of this fatal four-way.
I think I know who's walking out with that title. And I think we're getting a banger loaded on that Tuesday.
Yes.
I think I know exactly what's going to happen.
Yup.
And now we get to a match that I saw the ending coming from a mile away. It is Jada Parker and Tatum Paxley. And as much as I like Tatum Paxley, they're booking her to lose and be a jobber currently. Jada Parker quickly dispatches of Tatum Paxley.
Yep.
It's like a 5-minute match.
Yep. And none other than Thea Hale comes out and attacks Jada after the match, after their little arguments and scuffles these past couple weeks. Thea's decently forgiven Tatum as she's like, look, I get it. You've lost a lot. You were just crashing out. But Jada had no reasoning to do to Thea what she did.
That was out of nowhere, too.
Yeah.
I did like that segment. Where she just fucking hip-checked her out of nowhere.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep, but Tatum's crying backstage, being like, I've lost everything, and I've lost my last couple matches. I don't know where to go.
The fourth weird occurrence, a rare sighting. Soluruka and Zarya approach. And if you notice, if you're an eagle-eyed viewer, Sol had both of her belts.
Oh my gosh, they're showing the speed on TV?
So.
Precursor to her losing the speeds.
No, it was like this. She had her North American like this. And the speed was literally held to the side, but I could tell the little wing poking out.
Did they?
It didn't even get brought up on the card.
No.
On her title thing. No, it just said NXT Women's North American Champion.
Yeah. Did they re-finagle the contract to
I
allow it on TV?
I don't think so. I don't know what happened, but it made its... The first time the Speed title has made its appearance in WWE. On WWE TV.
Yes, not on Twitter. And yes, I still call it Twitter.
I also call it Twitter.
Everyone calls it Twitter.
Unless you're one of those D-writers that have started calling it X.
Troglodyte.
But no, yeah, that's...
Yeah.
That was like... What? Like, it's not a big thing in the grand scheme of things, but it's a big thing.
Yes, it's like the belt that is contractually obligated to not be shown on WWE TV and just on Twitter.
Just got shown on TV.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a very tiny little snippet.
Yeah, like,
but it
as
got
we
shown.
just saw, I missed it.
But it got shown. And she held it the whole time.
Yeah.
She held it the whole time on screen.
No one stopped her. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, so basically Zaruka says, like, if Tatum needs a friend, they'll be her friends.
And the calling's in the background, and keep Tatum Paxley away from the calling.
Please.
She does not need to join them.
No. But this possibly is set. I don't know if it's setting up Tatum joining the calling, but it's probably setting up Izzy challenging for the NA.
I also see Zarya turning on Zaruka very soon. Next, we get into our main event of the evening.
It is for the woman.
Wait, before we get into the main event of the evening, sorry, real quick, Trevin, plug your thing right now so we don't have to do it at the end.
Oh yeah. Yeah. If this episode of NXT had a lot of weird occurrences, much like there are plentiful of weird occurrences, including a weird player character such as Birdman.
Hola.
In our TTRPG podcast, Throes of Chaos. Where I DM a homebrew D&D 5e campaign with all these idiots and also our friend Alyssa.
You try to race a horse.
And I win now.
Spoiler!
You haven't yet?
I have one. Wait, have I?
Not on released content yet. We got a backlog to get through.
Oh, that's what you
Gordon won in redacted.
Yes. Yes, but go on and check that out. Be sure to, give it a follow if you want to hear more of our voices or just more hilarity and laughter from us. Link in the bio of this channel and in the description down below.
Main event of the evening. It is your women's NXT championship match. Your champion, Stephanie Vaquer, taking on 1/3 of Fatal Influence.
Yeah, and the third is back on our screens.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
No. No reasoning for why she was gone. None given. Just, she was gone. I know why.
A bunch of the internet knows why.
Why?
Discuss it off pod.
Yeah.
Oh.
But going into the match, we see Fatal Influence make their way down to the ring, and then Stephanie's making her way. And we see the lineup full of future NXT women's stars that are the next generation. They are the next front and center. And this was second red flag
that you ignored.
I just ignored. Also, fifth weird occurrence of the episode. They're trying to make Nikita Lyons seem like a threat. And that itself is a threat. They are threatening us. But we get to the match. And it is a good match. High-paced, great action. What was the ending? Well, Trevin, why don't you explain the ending?
Yes, so the ending is Stephanie is in a very advantageous spot. She has beaten this number game before, back when Fallon was the North American champion. However, possibly confidence and maybe a little bit of hubris, Icarus flew a little too close to the sun as Jasmine is distracting the ref while Stephanie and JC are having a little scuffle. Stephanie gets into the corner ring post and gets hit with a
corner post Tiger Fang kick, or the better known corner post 619.
Yep, by Fallon Henley, which knocks her back into the center of the ring for JC to pin her for the 1, 2, 3.
And we have a new NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane.
You have opinions.
Why? Why?
To quote Kayla, yeah.
Here's the thing. You have Worlds Collide coming up, and you're holding that in Mexico. Why are you putting Stephanie in a tag match and not a singles match with the championship? Because here's the thing. It kind of makes what Jordan and Stephanie did just pointless. Because at this rate, they're both getting called up.
Yep. Rude.
So if this is how you wanted it to happen, why not just give Jordan a 2-day reign with the title, have her lose in screwy methods, and then get called up? Secondly, this seems the most transitional I've ever seen the championship seem transitional. If JC actually does defend it more than twice, I will be genuinely surprised. I don't know what's... Like, they have a huge crop of talent, and I don't want it also to seem like I'm shitting on JC. I like her. She's good. The thing is, why her out of the group? Why not have Fallon get the win back? But, hey,
a possible spoiler of one of her defenses, for those of you who are very active on Twitter, I am not. I just follow TikTok people that are a lot more active on Twitter. In response to the video highlight package of the ending of this match, none other than one Mariah May responded with a little gif of her doing her hey.
Yeah, Mariah May might be coming to NXT this summer. It is her contract year with AEW, and I believe her contract is up pretty soon. And she's just not been on screen. Or it might have expired already. I'm not sure. I feel like if she's a free agent, I would have known. It is a weird time for NXT.
Yeah.
It is even more apparent that it is call-up season.
Yes.
The best analogy is you had friends that were upperclassmen and they graduated.
And now you're the upperclassman.
And now you have no friends.
And now you're the upperclassman and you have to, this is
weird.
This is the new group that I'm with. Yeah. But we get 2 new champions.
Yeah. With one already having their first defense confirmed for Worlds Collide a week from Saturday.
Yeah. That's been this episode of NXT. I think JC's first defense might be against Fallon.
Ooh.
I think they're going to fast track this split up now.
Ooh.
Also of note, the only 2 people to pin Stephanie since her debut, Shotzi and JC Jane.
That's funky.
I'll leave you with that note. This has been your main roster predictions champion, Caleb. I am your first 2-time. That is Betless Trevin.
Oh.
That is your NXT predictions champion, Zach, our producer. And that is our editor-in-chief, Gordon, behind the camera. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell 3 times so you know the match is over. Thank you for your time, and peace.
Bye!